All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with the KTrain, where I chat with people who help me keep an eye on my vision. I am pretty pumped to introduce you guys to this guest today. This man, if you've read my book, you know he played quite an influential role in my life, especially in my wrestling career. I was wrestler for 6 or 7 years, and it was a lot thanks to this guy. 1988 Olympian, multiple time All American at Penn State University, academic All American at Penn State, former head coach of Penn State, Ohio State, all and has been running one of the most successful, I would say, wrestling camp programs in the country for a long time now. So I'm super excited to introduce everyone to my a guy that I call Coach. So Coach Ken Chertow. Coach, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be on your show. I appreciate it. Great to talk to you in person.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of want to just dig into your background a little bit. Obviously hit a couple of the highlights, but wrestling has kind of been your life since, when? A lot of us, some of us, I started wrestling, as a freshman in high school, but I think you kind of started as a little kid, or like when did you kind of find your passion for wrestling?
Well, two different questions. So I started as a little kid, fifth grade. I got involved and didn't do real well. I lost more than I won. You know how hard it is. I'm sure you're.
Oh yeah.
It was a killer. I remember you sharing it with me, and it's just learner curve, get rolling. But once I got to junior high is when I developed a passion, to answer your question, for wrestling. I stopped playing some of the ball sports, just started wrestling and lifting and training my body year round. I embraced fitness, nutrition, and learning the art of wrestling, and I made great progress from seventh grade to eighth grade, ninth grade. I just kept steadily improving, and the better I did, the more passion I got about it. Just made an all-in commitment in high school and college and beyond. So that's kind of the short answer to your question. I got exposed in elementary school, but got passionate about it as a teenager.
Yeah, and so if I remember correctly, you like you started really to kind of come into your own as a junior, senior in high school. Started getting noticed by the big colleges and all that. Like, what was did you? Was going to Penn State, was that a thing that like you just wanted to do right from the get-go? Like, what were some other colleges interested in you? Like, what was your recruitment process?
Kyle, you're killing me, man. You're asking me 3-4 questions at once. It's hard to
sorry, man.
Process,
sorry,
but I got it. I'll keep up with you though. So
the
answer to your questions is my junior, senior year of high school, as I did make that all-in commitment, I did start seriously looking to wrestle at Division I colleges and get serious about it in the recruiting process. I didn't really have a bias towards Penn State or anywhere else at that time. I was open-minded, but certainly the more I did, the better I got. I made a full-time commitment to it when I was 16, 17. I use full-time loosely. I just stopped playing other sports, just focused on my wrestling and academics. And that's what I did. So yeah, it opened doors up to colleges. I explored a lot of colleges, and Penn State is special. It's got a great culture of wrestling, great tradition. And it was just exciting to have the opportunity to be part of growing the program. We were good back then, but I helped as an athlete and then as a coach to go great. And we're one of the top collegiate sports programs in the history of NCAA sports. Penn State now won 9 of the last 11 NCAA championships. We just really have separated ourselves from the crowd. Kind of like when I was growing up, Dan Gable in Iowa was the thing. And now Penn State has surpassed that level of achievement. It's very exciting. So wrestling at Penn State was a big deal. And just like you made a full-time commitment to moving out to the Olympic Training Center and just engrossing yourself in the full-time nutrition and focus on the fitness and the full-time life of training. I did that in college while other kids were, straying and doing stupid stuff. I just focused on my training and my education. And I spent a lot of time at the Olympic Training Center and a lot of time at the World Team training camps, and just focused on getting better and improving. So that was my journey.
Yep. And so you made the Olympic team when you were 21. Is that right?
Yeah, you got a good memory, or you recently refreshed yourself on my book, or some combination. Guys, I'm going to go with mostly memory.
It is mostly
smart.
memory.
I remember coaching you, and you were so coachable. You would pick up, when you were at my wrestling camps, you'd pick up the moves and really retain them well, which I thought was partly muscle memory. I didn't really know exactly, but obviously you got a great memory for stuff. So yeah, I was the youngest member of my Olympic team. I made the Olympic team when I was 21. I was a junior at Penn State. It was pretty cool. And I was on the Olympic team with Olympic champion John Smith, Kenny Monday, Bruce Baumgartner, some legends in our sport. I realize your audience is not a wrestling audience necessarily, but these are three Olympic champions who were role models for me, who were a little bit older than me, especially Baumgartner and Monday. Smith is only a couple years older than me. He's still the head coach at Oklahoma State and thriving as a coach. So he's a pioneer in our sport, developed the low single. As I think about it, Kyle, my shins still hurt from him diving at my ankles. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I remember drilling that. That was a staple at camp that, we really drilled that low single so much. And yeah, my ankles and knees are hurting thinking about it. But yeah, oh man. So like, 1988, you're the youngest guy on the team. What? Yeah, that was in Seoul, South Korea, I think. And so, like, what was your just overall Olympic experience like?
It was
tell us
definitely
from the Olympian's perspective. So,
it's the cool experience. The to be clear, the on the mat experience didn't go so great. I only won a match, so I didn't achieve my dreams to the ultimate, which is the most important. And I didn't, I don't have a great memory of that part of it. But for the general Olympic experience, being around so many international sports, international athletes, live in the Olympic Village, I made some memories of a lifetime. It's something I dreamed about growing up as a teenager, and I got there. I made a commitment to wrestling, and I made our Olympic team, and I got to go to the Olympics, and it was a super experience. And then I just fell a little bit short of the actual goals. But the overall was, just memories of a lifetime.
Yeah. And so you go on to, after the games, you go on, you finish out your career at Penn State. Like, what did you actually study in college? Like, what was your major?
I'm a biology major, Kyle. And I actually went to medical school immediately after college. So a year after making the Olympic team, I graduated and I went to Ohio State for medical school. I was also an assistant coach there. I took a graduate assistant position there while going to medical school. So I did that for a full year. And I chose to take a leave of absence and focus on coaching and training and competing to make another Olympic team. So I succeeded in medical school, but I chose not to continue pursuing it. And after that leave of absence for a year, I chose to stay on leave and just made a career out of wrestling. So I've been coaching wrestling full time ever since. I had the ability to be a physician, and I wanted to be a orthopedic surgeon or a pediatrician, but I chose to take my energies into the coaching realm and working with kids through wrestling. It's kind of like coaching. I was coaching college at a high level for 5+ years, Penn State, Ohio State, and stuff, and I chose to focus on young people. So I'm guessing I would have walked away from orthopedic surgery residency or intern rotations to focus on pediatrics. Anyways, I like working with kids. It's gone really well. And I've been coaching camps now, since you were a kid, teenager, or what have you. I know I met you as a teenager.
Yep. I think we met between my, I think it was like after my second season of wrestling. I went to your gold medal training camp. It was just it was a long weekend camp or a week-long camp in Florida. And it's just like, I remember, oh man, so many clinicians, and we were chatting before we hit record, and I went to I went to a high school that wasn't really known for sport. We were more known for our brain bowl team than our football team, or especially our wrestling team. But like I had never experienced, you know, that intensity of wrestling and training and just immersing myself in, you know, that kind of sporting environment ever. So can like walk us through, how do your camp, like walk the audience through, how do your camps go, and like what's kind of the structure, you know, like, because these kids are not like, it's not summer camp where, you know, we just run around, play, have fun. I mean, like it's work. Like walk us through what
Absolutely.
a camp experience is like.
Sure. But just some of your memories that you share a little bit. I remember that first camp you were at. Obviously, you know, I wanted to get hands on you to make sure you learn real closely. So you were my partner a lot. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And really emphasizing that you grab wrist control and get to underhooks. And I had a minimal experience working with, you know, guys who couldn't see it as well, or couldn't see it all in your case, really. And it was a cool learning experience for me too. But I don't like to be from far away. As an athlete, I'm not real fast. I know you can't see me, Kyle, but I'm really slow. I got to get close. I got to grab hold. I got to get a hold of their neck and the underhook, buddy. All right. My style actually was a good fit for you, because that's what you want to do. You want to grab hold of them.
Exactly.
Once you take hold, all else is equal. You know, it doesn't matter. So in wrestling, you got these little quick guys bouncing around and jumping around and stuff and diving to your ankles, like we were talking about John Smith, right? You don't want that crap. You want to get low and get a hold of them. So, anyways, it was pretty cool to get a hold of you and teach you one-on-one. You were my demonstration partner for a lot of those teaching sessions.
Yep.
It was cool.
Yeah.
So basically my camp, you know, we attract serious wrestlers that want to get good. We attract both teenagers and young kids that are just getting rolling too. We break them into groups. Sometimes I'll teach the whole group together for bits. Then we break out into smaller groups, whereby you as an athlete were with the more experienced teenagers, because you were picking up pretty quick. By the time you get to my camp, you know what you're doing. But then there's little kids too, so it's a good mix. I have a lot of fun starting elementary school kids, getting them rolling. But for any serious teenager across country, they know about my camp. I've been doing this now for over 30 years, and it's still going stronger than ever, really, and fun. So we break down into groups and really I hire a lot of coaches. So I might teach a big group for a while, but ultimately we get down into smaller groups, so they give you individual instruction on the areas you need to work on. And again, you know, for you were really tough on top. You were strong grabbing wrists. I recall as you gained experience, you got a little better with leg wrestling on top.
Oh yeah.
We try to get guys to focus. Right. You don't need to learn. Nobody needs to learn and master 100 moves necessarily. And especially for you learning wrestling, I thought it was really specific that you found your niche of what moves are going to work for you best. Why be a jack of all trades and master none? Instead, what you did so successfully was master your positions, the positions you like best, and then you put yourself in those positions, which was very successful for you. I mean, you did amazing work. You remember how tough you were with the underhook and the head snap, and on top you were. I actually remember being underneath you. I'm like, damn, this dude is leechy and strong. So you picked up quite quick, and you know, you're proof that any body can wrestle. It doesn't matter if you're tall and lanky or short and squatty, or if you can see or hear. I mean, it just don't matter. There's a way to find a way to wrestle and fight and defend yourself and battle. So, you know, I have vivid memories. Hell, we're talking about stuff from 15 years ago now, right? You're like in your young 30s now, aren't you?
I am. I'm 31 now. So I was like 15, 16 when you first got a hold of me.
Yeah, literally got a hold of you. So it's pretty good. You got to send me more dudes that can't see, so I can teach them, Kyle. It's a fun challenge for me.
It is,
right. I deal with thousands of campers. Like you were there at the camp I did in Cocoa, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago or something. I remember you came in and gave a motivational talk to that big group of kids, and that was really, really inspiring. But I don't get to work with, you know, everybody's different. Every situation is different.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. So like, oh my gosh, just bringing back so many memories. Like, that underhook series that you worked with me on, the head snap, and then the leg riding. I mean, my goodness, I would not have survived in the, you know, on the college club wrestling scene if it hadn't been for those moves and
Yeah.
all that.
I,
But
I
yeah, no,
feel like
it was
I
amazing.
feel like you like the bear hug and the cruncher a little bit. Is that accurate? Like you like to get the
Yeah.
underhook?
Yeah, I would go for that, immediately go for that underhook and then go right to a bear hug and then, step around, with that step around knee block or an over under with that step around knee block. That was a go-to for me.
Sweet.
And then once we got on the ground, it was that parallel leg ride power half that I got pretty good at. So at least I
Absolutely.
feel that I did.
Yeah.
Um,
When you're done with this legendary triathlon career, you should play some jujitsu. I think you'd have a ton of carryover. Have you ever rolled around jujitsu at all?
A little bit, yeah. I actually in my I think in my junior or senior year of high school, there was a guy who was he rolled around with us a little bit, and he was coaching a couple of us on the side, just trying to adapt some jujitsu principles over to the wrestling mat. But yeah, no, it's something that I've thought about. And something that I might have to dip my toe back into
Yeah. You
if
pick
my
up quick.
if my shoulders hold up after this triathlon stuff.
I
They're
hear
getting
you.
a little sore. So, but
Really?
yeah, they're getting a little tender in my
More
in
from
my
more
old
from the
age.
biking or swimming?
More from the swimming. Yeah, it's a grind. Swimming is a grind, and that's a very technical, demanding sport. But
And it's straight
but
up
no,
in triathlon. It's straight up freestyle, right? No other
yep,
strokes.
yep, all freestyle, and so just working that one stroke. But no,
Yeah.
like I think back and I think of all the lessons that I took away from your camp, and a lot of it, yes, a lot of it was wrestling specific, but a lot of it wasn't. You were very like, can you talk us through some of the skills that you emphasize um, that apply off the mat as well as on the wrestling mat? Because like I remember like you telling us like when you go back to your dorm room, like keep a journal, like write notes on stuff, and apply this to use this as your study habits, and talk us through some of the off the mat stuff that your camps kind of help all of us apply to life in general.
Absolutely. Well, one of the themes is be a scholar athlete, not a
Yep.
dumb jock. And that's
Yep.
applicable to everything. So moving on from the wrestling world, triathlon and wrestling have a lot in common
They do.
beyond the different techniques. Obviously, biking, swimming, and running are a little bit different than grabbing them and throwing them down. It's different
A little
technical
bit.
skills. But the strength skills, the mindset skills, the attitude, pretty much similar or same. So from a general life standpoint, that's the slogan I really embrace at camp is be a scholar
Yep.
athlete, not a dumb jock. And
Yep.
that's very applicable to young people and teenagers. Your audience, perhaps probably more adults. I look at sports as training for life, whether it's
Yep.
wrestling, triathlon, or anything else.
Yep.
We're training ourselves to develop the discipline, the persistent, the goal setting skills, the positive mindset, the persistence, all those skills that we learn in sports, wrestling, triathlon, and others. Applies to life and success in life. I got to
Yep.
figure that any serious triathlon athlete is going to be succeeding in life while they're doing triathlon as well as after, when the joints, as you joke about, joints get sore after a while and you don't quite do as much. But the mental skills you learn from that commitment to excellence, and that's a phrase I like to use that I
Yep.
think is really all encompassing. So some people are dedicated and they do things, but they don't do them consistently. So to me, commitment means a consistent level of intense dedication over a period of time. And
Yep.
commitment to excellence means really striving to excel. Like
Yep.
some people do triathlon or wrestle just to have fun and be participants.
Yeah.
They're not as goal oriented necessarily, or it's not as important. It's more of a activity and fun. Whereby trying to be a world class triathlete or an Olympic wrestler, you got to make that commitment to excellence to being the very, very best you can be. And that goes beyond just being dedicated periodically. It means a year-round lifestyle commitment. It means,
Yep.
in your case, moving your butt to Colorado Springs to be in the
Yep.
environment, to engross yourself in a culture of hardcore, excellence. And
Yep.
that's what I look at as commitment to excellence, commitment to excel. And it's all walks of life. It's beyond the technique and the mindset. It's also nutrition and strength. So let's
Yep.
face it. I mean, triathlon, there's so little distance between each other at the highest levels. It's a game of feet, or not that many seconds, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be as have the maximum muscular endurance, the maximum anaerobic capacity, the ideal nutrition program. You
Yep.
know all this stuff. I'm just
Oh
talking
yeah.
stuff but these are things that we learn in wrestling and triathlon, all sports, to to help us reach our fullest level of excellence, our fullest potential.
Yep. No, I mean it's crazy. So I think isn't your book called Commitment to Excellence?
It is. It's called Wrestling Commitment to
Wrestling
Excellence. But yes,
Commitment to
the
Excellence. Yep.
message of my book that you read 15 years ago, it talks about goal setting. It talks about staying motivated when things don't go as well. And then there's a whole second unit on strength training, nutrition, and mindset. So, I mean, the second unit, all those skills are things we need in all sports, right? Strength, nutrition, and mindset. Because the skill, let's say skill is, I don't know, in wrestling, it's half or more. I don't know, triathlon. I mean, I guess certainly you have to have good skills of running, biking, swimming, but ultimately you have to have incredible strength and endurance. You just have to, you have to be so mentally tough, because if you let up for any length of time, you're giving up valuable seconds. And and if you cheat on your nutrition, I mean, it's totally different nutrition things, right? Like triathlon, multiple hours. Where by wrestling, you're preparing for these short, intense 6-minute fights. It's a little different beast. But the nutrition plan that you follow has to be followed consistently on a disciplined basis to maximize your performance. Otherwise, you're not making the most of your time.
Yep. And it, like, man, just all these little sayings that you had, like they stick in my mind. Like you always emphasize, to us, there's no crime in not reaching your goal, but just failing to set one. And then another one that I've repeated quite often has been like, look, athletes compete with each other, but champions compete with themselves. And so like you had all these little sayings and phrases that stick with so many of us. Like, is this stuff that like you were taught? Is it stuff that you kind of developed over the course of time? Like,
I'm not so egotistical to think that I made that stuff up and just created it. Same thing with wrestling moves. I mean, there's very few wrestling moves that I made up. I learned from some of my mentors. One of the quotes you just said, some athletes compete with others, champions compete with themselves. I remember specifically learning that from Russ Hellickson, who's an Olympic silver medalist and legend in our sport. He actually hired me for my first job out of college. When I was graduating Penn State, he was the Ohio State head coach, and Russ Hellickson, Olympic silver medalist, hired me, and he made a poster with that quote on it, and he honored me and put me on the poster. So that was a quote. That's a quote that I embrace and share with others. And again, that's some athletes compete with others, but champions compete with themselves. And I think as a triathlon superstar, you and your peers can relate to that, because I mean, you're running against other people. But ultimately, you're just competing within yourself to always better yourself, to always improve, to always constantly strive for a PR, for personal record and time and stuff, and get her done. So I can relate to that absolutely. And I did. So I say I only did wrestling as a teenager. I also did cross country running, which was part of my in my mind I was training for wrestling. But I did participate in cross country in high school, and man, I was dead set on constant improvement. I didn't really care who I was running against, but I darn well wanted to improve consistently as I made progress in my career. Hey, just so you know, so I don't sit still really well, Kyle. Maybe you can relate to that. You're a pretty energetic guy.
A little bit. I've been out.
I'm out walking. That's why you periodically hear a vehicle. I found
it's all good
rural road to be on. But I'm in my 50s, man. I can't run and bike and crazy stuff like you do. I could bike, but anyway, I can't bike and do them at the same time. But I figured
I love it.
Stroll while I was chatting to you, keep my old butt moving, keep me from getting too fired up.
I love it. Well, I know that you can't sit still. You are a man on the move all the time. So like, as we begin to wrap up here, but let us know what's the camp schedule like on a year-to-year basis, and what's kind of in the future for Chertow Wrestling.
Okay, so you asked me about my camp, but I didn't go there. So basically, my camp, I run clinics all across the country for short periods of time where people hire me, but I bring over 100 people every week to Pennsylvania in the middle of July. It's a Marriott Convention Center. The hotel's connected. We sleep, eat, and wrestle right in this facility. It's awesome. It's July 8th through 23rd of 2023. So this summer that we're in is July 8th through 23rd. We have, just like you flew to Philadelphia, we have kids flying from all over the country. Most of them use State College Airport, where Penn State University is. Our hotel is near Penn State University, my alma mater. I mean, they have a serious culture of people come there. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we have teenagers, we have youth that want to get better, and those youth come with parents. If the kids are like 11 and younger, they come with a parent. If they're teenagers, the parents set them on a plane and send them on their own, just like you did with your service dog as a teenager. You came to camp solo, and we got you to the airport and picked you up in the whole 9 yards. So it's just an incredible experience. The details are all on my website. It's just my name. So my name's Chertow.com. Chertow, I think, it's on my t-shirt, Chertow. So Chertow.com is where all the camp information is. So people can get it there. So anybody's connected to the wrestling circles, and, if any of you triathletes know somebody involved in wrestling, that's how you get a hold of me and learn about my camp. But it's just been an awesome experience. I love working with kids and inspiring them. I'm honored to have impacted you beyond the wrestling mat, Kyle. I follow your journey. I read your emails and stuff. Dude, that takes a while, though. You like writing.
I get a little long-winded.
you wrote a book. It's okay. It's good. I got to sit down and take a deep. I got to find the right moment to sit down here and catch up on what you're doing. But I do follow what you're doing. So it's cool to follow you from afar. I'm glad that you keep up with my camps. You're always welcome there, inspiring my guys. You got to break out a couple bear hugs and step around knee blocks too. That was fun. When you came to camp as a guest speaker, you did awesome. You killed it, man. Those kids, they were focused on you, buddy. Trust me. It was a very unique, motivational talk. And we've had some legends like Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah.
You're right there on the list of guest speakers with Kurt Angle. And so Kurt's an old friend of mine who, for folks who don't know, he won the Olympics and now he's a famous WWE star. I think most of mainstream America's heard of him.
Yep, I think so. But
you got the same hairdo going, Kyle. You're losing it up top there. I am trying
I'm loose. Yeah, the old hairline's starting to creep back a little bit, but it's all good.
I don't know if you could see little rem. I don't know what your seeing level is, if any of these days, but I do have a red hat on my head, so I'm covering up my.
You're covering it up, huh?
Yeah. Well, you got the earphones covering up. It's hard to tell.
I do my best.
We're both in bright red shirts, though, feeling the energy.
Yep. Absolutely.
Color. I think it's vibrant, energetic, dynamic color. I like it. So red, white, and blue, baby. Red, white, and
exactly. Blue. Red, white, and blue all day long. It's a nice battle red color. I think so. But yeah, no, it's awesome. Coach, my gosh, I could honestly just keep talking to you for hours and hours, and we could dive deep. But you coach everyone from I remember coaching little kids at 5 years old all the way up to those of us when we came and coached at your winter break camp as collegiate kids. You run the whole spectrum from little kids to college kids. You've coached some pretty big names in wrestling, from Zane Rutherford to I think you had your hand on Jordan Burroughs at some point. You've coached all the you've had your hand in so many pots and influenced so many lives, and I know that I speak for everyone when I just say thank you. You've definitely impacted my life on and off the mat, and it's been a real honor getting to catch up and chat with you. So thank you so much, Coach.
You too. Thank you. You look great, man. You sound great. I look forward to seeing you excel and break all your personal records here in the coming year. Get healthy.
Will do, Coach. Well, thanks a million. And I'll do my best to, I'll find a time in my schedule where I can pop over, and we'll make sure to get me back on the mat at some point.
Always welcome you, Kyle. Absolutely. And you're going to maybe have kids someday. We're going to put you to work coaching them, to train you up.
We'll see, Coach. We'll see. Appreciate it. Well, everyone, Thanks so much for tuning into another episode of Kicking It with the KTrain. If you're not energized and ready to run through a brick wall, then you haven't been listening. Go check out kenchertow.com. Pick up a copy of Ken's book. Follow him on social media. All the fun things. And if you got anyone that's interested in wrestling, get connected with this guy. He's amazing. So thanks, Coach. We'll chat
Thank
soon.
you, sir. Good to speak with you and everybody.
Yep. All right.